Is the right to tell what they do not want to hear. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Tired of the same repetitive government narratives? Then wave goodbye to the distractions and rhetoric of corporate media. For this is Anti-Media Radio.
But I want to get the language right.
The big government is in trouble.
You're all a bunch of slaves! Bunch of slaves!
What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another.
What's your definition of media?
And now, here's your host, S.M. Gibson.
My name is S.M. Gibson, and welcome to another episode of Anti-Media Radio. It is April the 18th, 2017. Yes, today was the last official day to turn in your tax returns for all the amazing things you get in return from the government. There's a lot to talk about tonight. I'm going to go ahead and bring on our co-host for the evening, Miss Josie Wells. Josie, what's going on?
Sorry, I almost threw up when you were talking about the taxes.
Fair enough. I completely understand. So I guess the big news tonight is everybody's sticking it to the man. There's a special election in Georgia. Oh, there's going to be some sort of blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Guess what? It's another idiot politician. Why is anybody? Who cares? Like,
wait, there's a bit. That's the big news tonight. What is that? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right, and you know what? It doesn't matter.
Like what?
It's completely irrelevant because I guess this guy's running on a platform of like screw Trump. Or I guess, he's going to stick it to the man. How many times have we seen this? It's
but
more of the same.
In what way? Like not pay by getting people to not pay taxes, because that would be literally the only way I would consider that positive in any way.
Well, he's a Democrat, so what do you think?
Oh, pay more taxes. Pay more taxes.
Exactly.
Oh, pay more taxes. That's fantastic. To make up for the taxes that Donald Trump may or may not be paying. I mean, who knows?
Right. But, yeah, and I guess there have actually been people protesting over the weekend about Donald Trump's taxes, which still blows my mind. Congratulations, everybody. There's children getting blown up across the Middle East, and you're worried about some nonsense that does not matter.
Right. And meanwhile, he's down in Florida golfing, and it doesn't even notice that it happened until Monday, and then starts tweeting about it. Like, who does that?
I think we're better off with him golfing, to be honest with you.
Oh my gosh, I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. It's just how, with me, it's just like, how do they not realize how? I mean, they're wasting time. Like, just like go. That's what I posted. I was like, go buy a smoothie. Like, go get a smoothie, have fun, enjoy New York, see the sights, spend a day, relax.
Yeah, do literally anything else other than protest that, because it's going to get you nowhere. It's going to accomplish nothing other than just a giant waste of time. And in the long run, you could look like a complete idiot because you're protesting nothing. Right. I think people look like idiots protesting this stuff. If you're going to protest, do you know how much there is to protest out there? Do you know all the horrible things going on in the world? Yeah, protest something worth protesting. Right.
I mean, no other president has ever had to. I don't think in the history, right? And no president has ever made their tax returns public, have they?
Yeah, I think that. I don't know. I want to say that they have, but who cares?
God, I wish we had we were like super professional and had like just someone on the side, and we could be like Joe Rogan on his podcast. We'd be like, Jamie, pull it up for me real quick, and then we could just keep talking.
I believe that they actually have, but It's irrelevant. Who cares? What does it matter? What do people think is going to happen?
I don't know. I just want to know. I'm curious. I have a curious mind.
I could care less if he does it.
All right. You couldn't care less. I have to correct you on that. I feel so horrible that I just did that because I am that person that everyone hates. But yeah.
That's fine. But, like, I'm worried about the fact that, hey, we could be in World War III at any moment, which is a real possibility.
Yeah, well, I mean, aside from the fact that we're in World War III, yes, World War III could escalate pretty much.
Where at least it's acknowledged and there's world powers. Actually, well, there are world powers already involved in Syria between Russia and the United States. But the United States is actively bombing 7 countries right now. So at that point, I kind of consider it slightly a world war. And it's getting close. No, that's not really a world war because that's more of a world invasion when you think about it like that. Because I think they consider world war when you who are we actively fighting other than people that we're arming? You know what I'm saying? We're arming a bunch of people, then we're fighting them, and then we're just killing a bunch of civilians.
I guess in my mind, I'm thinking that the United States of America, the federal government and military, has effectively waged war on on literally the world. They're literally waged war on the entire world, and it's working. They're winning right now. That's how I look at it.
And unfortunately, I know that there's people out there, I can't believe Trump did this. Guess what? Obama was doing this. Guess what? Bush was doing this before him.
It's always been this bad, guys.
Yeah, it's nothing new. Since really Bush 41 got in office, not to exonerate, anybody before him, but since Bush 41 got in office, we've really been at war with the world. I mean, to the point people forget George W. Bush ran on a platform that Bill Clinton was policing the world.
Yeah,
people completely forget that.
Exactly, and I think the thing is, I think that is because I think it seems like I think the government realized that enough time had passed since the Vietnam War, that people maybe calm down a little and we're ready for the next wave of military conflict, basically, or at least to know about it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. And what's your take on why the media chose to really exaggerate Trump and the Tomahawk missiles and what's going on in North Korea? They're talking about that. But Trump has been bombing people since the day he got in office, and Obama bombed people for an entire 8 years prior to that. And the media never mentioned it the entire time Obama was in office, and they didn't mention it, what Trump was doing, until the Tomahawk missiles.
Well, I think it's because Trump didn't really mention it himself until the Tomahawk missile. He played that up more than he did his first couple bombings, right?
Oh yeah, I mean they weren't really mentioning the other bombings too much, and I think really
what I mean is Trump himself tweeting about it.
Sure.
Trump his people didn't really hype it up until the Tomahawk missile. So
I think the Tomahawk missiles were a strategy, though. Really, I think it was a negotiation strategy, to be honest with you. He was having dinner with his wonderful, delicious chocolate cake, which, that was the big story. And he sits down with the guy, like, we're launching missiles. What are you going to do about it? I really think Trump's mind works that way.
I totally believe it. That's what I mean. So I think what I think about the media not really talking about it, what Trump was doing until Trump talked about what Trump was doing, was because he's still the fucking Pied Piper of the disgusting mainstream media, and now the new wave. And there's actually what's funny is there's I watched this video of what's his name, Lucian Wintrich, I think his name is. He writes for the Gateway Pundit. First, the youngest gay White House correspondent, I think. In any case, he started off as a troll, like an alt-right troll, basically, kind of alt-right, more just a full-on Trump supporter. And he's talking about this battle. He was talking about this battle between the old stream media, right? And then now this new wave of younger, like, super Trump supporters. Like, they're coming in just ready to wage war. And, there are a couple people that we know involved in that side. So it's interesting to see, to see that. And it's because it's not a matter of alternative media versus mainstream media when it comes to, like, the White House correspondents and people that are getting information straight out of the White House. Now it's basically the old guard, like the old bought out mainstream whores versus the new, can't wait, like they're just aspiring to be bought out White House media whores.
That's what it seems like, because they're, in their mind, they're getting bought out by the right side, basically. And I don't think there's been a few people, but you look at the stuff that Trump, like in 2013, Trump, I'm all about 2013 Trump when it comes to Syria. He was like, this is the stupidest thing anybody could do. Why would anybody bomb these people? Mm-hmm. 2017 Trump, it's just like, this is a great idea. Yeah. And people are just going along with that.
Of course. Absolutely. And I do want to be clear that I don't mean that these kids are being, and I will call them kids, even though some of them are my age. I'm not saying they're being bought out monetarily, financially, and that, not in that sense. I mean being bought out because they're getting rewarded with attention and with access. They're getting rewarded with access that people didn't have before. Like when you have someone like Mike Cernovich, who is an independent, good journalist. He championed Trump. I mean, he was basically on the campaign trail with him. He might as well have been. When he has a straight line from the White House to him, he's getting information. He's getting this shit somewhere from someone. He doesn't just guess this shit. Like, you don't just dig this shit up. You're getting it from the White House. I don't give a shit what you say. Oh my God, are we allowed to curse on here?
If that's how you feel, then go for it.
Okay.
If you're compelled.
Because I think I just did. In any case, when that's happening, that is a serious bias in the other direction. So it's now just the tides have turned, and not in a good way. It's been a tug of war. Like, they had this tug of war, and the alt-right pulled harder because they had the president on their side. Because they championed him for so long, and he's rewarding that. The president of the United States is rewarding people who supported him by giving them access to inside information that makes him look good, which is terrifying. This is such a terrifying thing.
Do you think that this is a new trend, though? I don't. I think it's a new trend. The fact of who he's choosing, and he's choosing who he's choosing to give information to, because the old media, who they used to filter information through, are so washed at this point that it doesn't matter what.
My point is that it's not a new trend. Like, my point is it's the same old thing, but going the other way. Like, this isn't a good thing, because a lot of these very fresh green journalists are all excited because they think they're anti-establishment, when really they're sitting in the establishment's lap, in his lap, in front of his lap, around his lap, doing whatever they got to do on his lap, whatever they're doing. They're now, like, they are the new liberal media. Like, that's what they are. They are what they hate. They stared too hard into the abyss, and it stared right back. That's basically it.
I think that's 100% accurate with what we're seeing right now. I want to go ahead and bring on our other co-host for the evening, Mr. Shannon Madden. Shannon, what is up? Shannon. Looks like we're having some problems getting him on, but we'll keep pulling with it and see if we can get him on here in a little bit. But back to what we were talking about with the media. Look at who was the biggest absolute champion in the alternative media of Donald Trump was Mr. Alex Performance Art Jones. First off.
He was one of the biggest for sure. He definitely had the biggest audience of them. Yeah.
He had the biggest audience, but I want to say this. They're obviously going out to attack him because I don't think credibility is the word that I want to use, but he definitely has an audience and a platform. He's had it for a while, but it's so grandiose right now. There's so many people listening to him. They have to jump on and attack anything they can with him. Second off, of course what he's doing is performance art. Are you kidding me? Like, did we need any of this to come out in the past few days to realize that? And third off, who in the media and in politics isn't doing performance art? You really think Ted Cruz acts like Jim Jones when he goes home to his dinner table? No, I don't. I think everybody in politics, across the board, Democrat, Republican, it's a show. It's an act. And now they want to call out somebody who just happens to have a way more entertaining act than them. Because that's what it is. It's a show. That's why it has an audience. There's people that say the same stuff as Alex Jones. They don't have the audience as Alex Jones because he's really entertaining.
Yeah, he's the shock jock of the conspiracy theory world, and he is that. He's got that passion. He's got that. I was just talking to a friend earlier about this, just right before we got on, actually. And we were talking about how I was laughing because I posted a picture because he looked adorable in this meme where he has like a tinfoil hat on. He like looks so proud. He's like smiling in the camera because he's so proud that he made it so perfect. And I'm like, he's got this thing. Like, he'll be crazy one minute and then lovable the next, and then it's just a maniac and terrifying and always hysterical. Always funny. It's amazing.
And you know that the people at the CNN or Fox News or NBC, which, you know, they're not even kind of in the ballpark of the numbers he's pulling. But that's got to really irritate them that there's just millions of people. Look, anti-media, we started with absolutely nothing, with Nick starting a Facebook page, and we're almost at 2.1 million people on Facebook.
Insane.
And this is, and we don't have the Alex Jones. We don't have the person that is massively just over the top, pulling in all these numbers just on a personality level.
You have the person who stutters and laughs and can't even talk right into the camera for 5 minutes a day. That's what you have.
But people are hungry for this information, I think.
I know. I'm being self-deprecating. But no, you're right. It's what I'm still amazed. I remember when Nick started the page, and I was like, this is, they're doing, he's doing really good things, and then it just started going, and I was like, what's happening? Like, this is crazy, and this is so amazing, and it's so great to see, especially someone like such a great group of writers and amazing minds and activists that are honorable and genuine. It's amazed me from day one, what's been built.
And I know that, I'm probably extremely biased to this, but it's a motley crew of people with all kinds of different beliefs. But at the end of the day, I think everybody is genuine in the fact that they want sincere change, and they're tired of just this bogus nonsense that has been shoved down our throats for years. And I think one thing that ties us all together is we do want a positive change, and we're all tired of being lied to from every extreme, whether it's the politicians or the media. And it's just people's minds are controlled based on this emotional propaganda. You get people that you think about the people that rail against what Bush and Cheney did with Iraq and say, oh, the government lied, and they lied about King, and they lied about Vietnam, and they lied about this, and they lied about that. And then they come out and say something tomorrow, and they're just like, well, that must be the truth. What? Like,
I know.
How many times do you need to be lied to before you start questioning everything that comes out of these people's mouth? And then you have somebody like John McCain, and Lindsey Graham, who's, Trump's finally doing the right thing. He's finally coming along. It's like, and there's people supporting this. Trump's poll numbers are going up.
I know.
Because he's bombing people.
Yeah.
At least the perception of his poll numbers are going up. I don't necessarily have ever believed from day one the poll numbers they spew about him. I think they just kind of point him in whatever direction they want people to feel that day. And I think Election Day proved that.
Yeah, I definitely have no idea. It is, yeah, like the information is just kind of like, we kind of do our best to discern between the two opposites, the far right and the far left, and we kind of just try to find our place in the middle.
Yeah, well, I guarantee you right now, I know whose poll numbers were definitely correct. I know the poll numbers were skewed throughout this campaign, but the poll numbers that were absolutely correct and would have went through the roof were D's nuts. Nick can agree with me on that. Hi guys, how are y'all doing tonight? I'm sorry I had a little technical snafu. It's been that kind of night tonight. I heard the word media whore when I first came on, so I knew this is going to be a great show.
We have new media whores now, though. I said
we're the alternative media, the anti-media whores. Yeah.
No, not we. No, we're not media whores. I'm saying that we have a new wave of media whores in the in the press corps now.
Yeah, I wish somebody would pay me off. That'd be awesome, right?
Right, I know, right? Where's my check? I love how we are Russian chills. I totally forgot.
Yeah, we were supposed to be getting checks from Putin, and I've yet to see ruble one since this whole started.
Seriously? Still waiting.
No kidding. Come on, someone needs to follow through with that. Speaking of Russia, I want to mention a story right now that we've got on the front page of the antimedia.org. It is on the far left of the very front page under Our News. U.S. fighter jets intercept 2 Russian tactical bombers 100 miles away from Alaska. Now, there's 2 ways to look at this. There's the spin of saying, okay, this is pushing us more towards war. This is really dangerous. They were nuclear capable. And that's possible. And then there's the other way of this is just something that happens all the time. And it's geopolitical chess. I think we're seeing a lot of geopolitical chess right now with what's going on in North Korea. Especially with what we're seeing with Russia and with North Korea, which those are, of course, the 2 big countries that keep getting brought up. How much of this do you think is a legit push and call to war? And how much do you think is just this geopolitical positioning propaganda war machine?
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't. Sorry to jump on you there, Shannon. I don't.
No. You're pretty much going to spell out the sentiment because that's the only sentiment I've got is, I can't swing either way on that because, again,
there's nothing leaning me one way or the other.
Exactly. And that's the weird thing about it. There's no clear-cut answer. There's no clear-cut, okay, well, this is definitely going on. We're definitely not friendly with this person. And again, it's just a lot of geopolitical posturing if you want to get down to it.
Oh, that's all that it seems to be. Now, what it's for, I don't know, but that's clearly what it is. There's no question of that.
And that's the most important question to ask here is what it's for. What is it for?
What is it for? I think with what we're seeing in Syria, I mean, they've been all over the board with what's going to happen in Syria. They've ramped up the bombings, not only in Syria, but across the Middle East. But is there going to be a push to put, 100,000 troops over there? I don't know. I mean, that's definitely been rumored. They're already putting more troops by the thousands across the Middle East right now, nowhere near, the 100,000 mark, but they're already positioning themselves for something. What is that something? I don't know. You've heard them all over the board, especially with we're not going to attack them. Oh, we are going to attack them. If you want to give Trump the benefit of the doubt, especially when it comes to what's happening in the Middle East, I think one way you can look at what's happening is Trump got in office and he says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn all the power over militarily to the generals because they're informed, they know what's going on, I'm going to let them make the decisions. The other alternative to that is Trump is just, complete. He lied straight to everybody's face about everything, and he had intentions of expanding the military-industrial complex. Either way, whether he lied to everybody or he just turned it over to some, crazy people who have their own agenda and have for a long time, the same objective's being carried out, whether Trump's being duped or whether he's going along with it, is kind of irrelevant because the reality is still the same. Only reason I think it matters, the difference between them, is if it is Trump getting duped, then maybe there is a way to put pressure on him, especially with somebody that does very much appear that he cares what people think about him. I do think if that is the case, you could put pressure on him to do something different because he does want to be popular. If it was just, he took off the mask and, he's George W. Obama, then everybody's screwed. I don't know what you
Well, again, though, what real power does he have at the end of the day? And I think that's the biggest message that's going to come out of all of this is how powerless the president, no matter how good his intentions are or how loud his talk is, it's just not going to happen. I believe the story came out yesterday, a few days ago, about the 70-some countries that are in favor of our occupation in Syria.
All 70 of those countries are on the payroll, though. You have to remember that.
And exactly. So this whole thing is a cash grab, and I've said that from moment one. And I think that in and of itself is becoming way more apparent because there's a lot of people that stand to make a lot of money from this.
Well, what was it? The MIT professor that came out and said that the gas attacks look completely bogus.
Yeah. Yep. There was no. They used to work for the Department of Defense.
Right. I still haven't seen any evidence to suggest anything that insinuates that Assad was behind that. Again, it still boils down to strategically, what did he have to gain from that? And what evidence has been presented that he did it? Now, of course, you've got the New York Times coming out and mocking people that are skeptics about this. But like we said earlier, this is all coming from the exact same people that have lied about basically everything. And now they're giving you another.
And we're talking about some really big stuff, too. We're not just talking about, they fudged a number here or there. 9/11, people. I mean, that right there, that is the worst attack on American soil. And well, since Pearl Harbor, right? Or did the numbers exceed Pearl Harbor's? I can't remember. But I mean, again, though, it's the worst modern attack in American history on American soil. And we're coming to find out that there were lie after lie after lie after lie. Why do you lie about something like that?
But you've still got a lot of people that've got their head in the sand over that, even though that Saudi Arabia is getting sued right and left right now over that.
As well, they should be.
Yeah, but, everybody's still got they're in the dark over it. One that you can point to 1,000%, and they'll go, oh, that was a different group of people, was Vietnam. Whereas with 9/11, I think there's so many questions, and nobody knows what's what other than the Saudi connection. And that was a lie. Why are they attacking Saudi Arabia's enemies and Saudi Arabia's getting rewarded?
We can get off on that subject some other night because we can talk about that all night,
I think we should stick to especially this instance. I think we should discuss this exact instance.
But that is definitely the precedent as to why we feel the way that we feel now in our community.
But it's not just that, it's everything. Look at Bush and Iraq. I mean, it's just been lie after lie after lie after lie. And with this, bringing it back to what's going on in Syria, what evidence is there? What factual, hardcore evidence other than Anderson Cooper getting slipped a sheet of paper and reading it and going, that definitely happened?
Right. Okay. So, and what's happening is, like you said, what was the New York Times? They're mocking a lot of skeptics, right?
Yes.
So this is why, and this actually ties in with another story that's on our front page today, with the Facebook killer, the Facebook Live killer. A lot of people will jump on, I think, conspiracy theorism, or whatever you want to call it, conspiracy theory following or whatever. It's definitely a religion. There's definitely a religion, like a cult that will every single
Everything
thing in the news. Yes, everything that's in the news, they go batshit crazy and start spamming everyone's wall, their own wall, everyone else's walls, about how it's a hoax and it didn't happen and it never happened. And hell yeah, they do occur. They legitimately occur. But can we please for 1 second step back and realize that sometimes horrific things happen that are out of the tyrannical government's control. They'll capitalize on it. Okay, sure. But when it's that religious cult and that sect that allows the New York Times to pull this shit. And like when you have an MIT professor, someone who has worked with the White House, worked with the Department of Defense, when you have people like that coming out, they have a lot to lose by coming out with that kind of stuff. A lot of credibility. What are they making off? What is this guy making off of this? Nothing. So to me, it's so frustrating because this is something that should be taken seriously. A report like that should be taken absolutely seriously, and it's not. And it's so frustrating. Okay, end rant. I'm done.
You still have, though, on top of that, you have Tulsi Gabbard, Democratic Congresswoman. You have Thomas Massey, Republican Congressman. Both are like, yeah, we still haven't seen the evidence yet.
Yeah.
And so this isn't isolated to a few people on the internet. And it is those people that, like we're talking about with the Facebook stuff. Everything's fake. Everything's fake. Everything's fake.
It's fake.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, the difference with the Syria thing versus conspiracy theory is the reason that legitimate conspiracies occur is because the government presents something with zero evidence behind it. Iraq war was a conspiracy theory because it was all based on lies, and then it all turned out to be true. Vietnam was based on lies. That's a conspiracy theory because somebody conspired lies to start a full-scale war. And then when people see something, right, and they see something like the Facebook thing, and they're just they can't believe anything, no matter what it is. And so Obama, good point, kind of off, but Obama made mention of this in one of his speeches at one of the press, whatever dinners they have. And he tied in something to the moon landing or the fake moon landing or blah, 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 blah. People tie in real things to fake conspiracy theories, and to make everybody look crazy. And they use these lunatic people that it doesn't matter if there's proof. They just want to call everything a conspiracy. Whereas with Syria, all people are saying is, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? If it's such a slam dunk, show us what happened. I don't think anybody, between the three of us, anybody at Anti-Media and any of the people that we've mentioned would, with the evidence presented to them that shows Assad did it, would go, no, he didn't do that. But they don't show you that evidence. They go, but look at the kids. Don't you care about kids? I mean, that's, it's all sold on emotion. It's not sold on anything factual.
And look, if you're going to lie to me about something, don't get involved in something shady where a bunch of people, innocent people, die. Hey, fake a moon landing. If the moon landing was fake, then hey, great job. That was awesome. That's the kind of lies that we need right now.
Right.
And and I think that's what a lot of people bought into when they elected Trump president.
Well, yeah, and he is kind of the conspiracy theorist president. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But with what we see in Syria, they say, but look at the kids, look at the kids. Give me a break about the kids. Certainly, it's horrific, but they don't care about the kids that are killed from U.S. bombs. They could care less about that. They could care less about children that just died, a few days ago in a bombing. They don't care about kids.
Now, wait a minute. Now, if there's some soft music playing in the background and Sally Struthers comes out in those snakeskin boots talking about, hey, we need to help these poor children. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're on that.
Remember the little boy? Remember the little boy that was in that just looked terrible, cute little kid, and he had dust all over him and blood all over him. And Hillary Clinton was talking about that picture. The world was talking about that picture, how just tragic it was. And luckily the child was still alive. I don't remember a single one of those people, not one of them, talking about the 10-year-old that was beheaded on a video by Syrian quote-unquote rebels. Not one of them mentioned that. They didn't care about that kid. They only cared about the kid when they could use it as propaganda. Yep. It's not about, if you care about children, life, human rights, you have to care about it across the board. And if the person you're looking to as your elected official or your media representative picks and chooses what they care about, guess what? They're lying to you about a whole bunch of stuff because they're picking and choosing what they can get emotional ties to push you into some barbaric adventure that they're going to go down.
In the name of freedom.
Yeah. And people have to realize this. This is a huge, huge important thing. I don't care if it's Trump, I don't care if it's Mitch McConnell, or if it's Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, whoever. If they're picking and choosing what it is that they're so outraged with, then they're not really outraged. They just want to do some nefarious activity. I'll at least give John McCain this. He's consistent. He's more consistent than anybody in Washington for the most part, except it's the wrong way. But no matter what it is, bomb them. It doesn't matter what happened, bomb them. Just bomb them. We're everything. I mean, it's a horrible.
And again, a guy that went through what John McCain went through as far as the POW thing, do you think he's really fit to serve? I mean, a guy like that has definitely got a chip on his shoulder. And I guess
any of them are fit to serve.
There you go.
I mean, honestly.
And really, because they're not serving anybody except themselves at the end of the day.
Right. I think, and I will say this. I think it's important to say that, and people don't like this, I don't think it's with anything. You can't say 100% of everybody is something. But I think with politicians, it's the mid 90 percentile. It's 95% of them. But I don't think you can just say every single one.
No, and you just mentioned a couple names with Tulsi Gabbard and Thomas Massey. I mean, those are two people that are in there trying to fight the good fight, that are actually listening to folks like you and I, and that number is getting larger and that those voices are getting louder about, how Americans really, truly feel about this, how we truly feel about the money that's stolen from us by the government every single day and every single year. And, again, we can get off on that subject some other time.
Do you realize
taxation is theft, though?
Politically speaking, and tell me if you agree with this, Josie, I think they could take Tulsi Gabbard, if they so chose, ran her in 2020, and she could become the president of the United States, no doubt. She's a minority. She's a woman. She served in the military. She checks all the boxes. She's legitimately anti-war. I think she would win just easily, landslide.
I'm going to tell you why she wouldn't.
She wouldn't because the Democratic Party hates her.
Okay, so there you go. I was just going to say the very last thing you mentioned on there would negate every other one of those checklists, boxes on the checklist.
Hey, y'all remember a fella? What's his name? Bernie Sanders. Y'all remember him?
I do not.
Oh, Papa.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Oh, Bernie.
Guy? He's that bumbly old guy who's always dropping all of his papers in every movie.
He was not the hand-picked candidate. The Democratic, it's a matter of public record now what the Democratic Party did to him. Yeah, I mean, you've definitely got a point. And that's, again, if we want to fix this thing through politics, we're going to have to get rid of the two-party paradigm immediately.
Oh, yeah, it's the same party. And people need to just wake up to that. As, unfortunate as something that is something people don't want to admit to themselves. But, going back to Tulsi Gabbard, I think that's a very important thing here. They won't embrace her because she is against what the establishment wants to do. She thinks for herself. And think about the Democratic Party could easily have a candidate to win in 2020. They choose not to pursue that person as their candidate because she's not part of the clique. The end. If they cared about whatever they say they care about, they pick her. And everything I've ever said about the Democratic Party, I'll be wrong about if they do that. They won't. I already know they won't. They would have let Bernie Sanders through. So, it's more of the same on either side.
And really, on paper, Bernie Sanders would have been like the ideal candidate to bring all of the Democrats together and let's destroy this evil Donald Trump fellow that's coming in there. Yeah.
Trump would have killed him.
I don't know. I don't know if it would have been a killing. I mean, because again, remember, Hillary did get 2 million more votes than Trump did.
Yeah, sure.
We both can agree that Bernie Sanders would have gotten way more votes than Hillary Clinton.
I think it's true that Bernie Sanders had legitimate support. Hillary Clinton had no support.
Absolutely.
He actually had real supporters, but Trump would have ran a completely different campaign. People have to realize Trump's a PR genius. I get it. Everybody hates him. Always this. He's a PR genius. Sorry, it hurts your feelings to give somebody credit for something. He's president of the United States, and he was tweeting out 2 years ago on Easter, Happy Easter to all the haters and the losers. And he's president of the United States today. He knows what he's doing when it comes to public relations. Mm-hmm. So I think he would have ran a completely different campaign against Bernie. He would have hammered on the fact commie. He would have been commie Bernie. You watch. Commie Bernie. And Bernie wouldn't have beat him. I know everybody thinks, well, if we just would have run Bernie over Hillary, Bernie would have won. No, he wouldn't have. But he did have support. I will say that for sure. Had much more support than her. It would have been a more interesting race to watch.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It definitely would have been. But again, could have, would have, should at this point. The machine turned the way that it did, and now we've got WWE in the White House.
Well, we were going to have WWE in the White House one way or another. We just got a Hall of Famer in now.
Yeah.
So literally, a WWE Hall of Fame.
OG WWE. Yep.
Yeah, so it makes it more entertaining, I guess. It's a more interesting show to watch as the world burns. Does anybody really believe? I know there's people out there that do, but if Hillary would have won, we would just have world peace right now. None of this.
No, we would have been in the exact same situation except for a few months quicker.
Yeah, except a few months quicker, and it wouldn't be. We wouldn't have her Twitter account to distract us from all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's already manned by staffer anyways, or the Hillary bots. Yeah.
So,
sadness.
I hope that people can start waking up to the reality of the situation. Until people can realize they've been lied to, until they can get legitimately informed, ask questions over every single thing. I don't care if it's coming out of my mouth. I don't care if it's coming out of Donald Trump's mouth, Anderson Cooper, Rachel Maddow, whoever. Look into it for yourself. Make sure you see the answer for yourself, because you can't believe anybody. And on top of it, sometimes people are just wrong. And then on top of that, everybody's a liar. So people need to be informed for themselves. And to what you were saying, Josie, all the people out there that are just like, that's a conspiracy theory. Guess what? If it is, you need to have evidence. You can't just go, I saw a YouTube video. You need to know it.
Yes, exactly. I know. Oh my God, it's driving me crazy. In any case, so, yeah.
Has anyone else today gotten involved in any of the conversations about the Cleveland shooter?
I know you've really kept up with it. Josie has.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I have. And what conversations do you mean, Shannon? Like about whether or not...
Well, the conversation now, of course, and again, I try to keep a lot of different folks on my Facebook feed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty picky about who I get to friend. I didn't get to friend you because you got too many friends already.
No, I don't.
You,
I have too many requests. Don't worry, we'll take care of that. No, go ahead.
oh, you suck. I thought it was like you had too many friends. I know you're popular, but anyways, no, I got into a conversation today. Well, excuse me, yesterday, and the conversation came up yet again. Of course, this was on a hardcore Democrat page. It's actually a local politician here in town who happens to be in jail tonight, but that's another story for another night. He, kind of basically just put it up there that this is what happened. And he didn't share the video, thankfully, but unfortunately, morbid curiosity. I have seen the video. I'm assuming everybody talking in this conversation has seen the video now. Right?
I haven't. I have not seen that video.
You're not missing a damn.
Yeah,
you're not
I don't
missing
plan
a damn.
on it either.
Yeah.
Don't play
it. It is horrific. I wish I'd never seen it. You can't unsee it. But again, the conversation came up about gun control and gun laws and what can government do about this situation to have ever prevented it happening in the first place.
Nothing. You can't do nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
No.
You can gun law. You can try to go door to door and take guns from everybody. What is it? 500 million guns that are currently circulating in America right now.
And well, just 98 actually were taken illegally on Friday, but that's a story for another day. I wanted to talk about that, but I guess not.
I want you to bring that up before we get off the air because I know what you're talking about, the story.
Okay, so they can't because it goes back to this is the gun video, like the why good people should be armed video that I made. That's why this is so important to me. That's why, and I hate to even cite an amendment from the Constitution, but because I hate the Constitution, but I mean, it's the best way for me to kind of, talk to people about this. And it's because you cannot, if someone is evil enough to want to murder someone, they're really not going to worry about whether or not it's legal because it's whether or not it's legal. Yeah, like to own a firearm, like if they're murdering someone, like they want to murder someone, so it's kind of like, well, murder's illegal. Oh my gosh, CNN, that's nothing. CNN had a headline about some analyst, a legal analyst, wanted to make Facebook live streaming or posting videos of murder illegal, and I'm like, well, I think the murder being illegal part kind of covers that. But
why would law enforcement want to pass something like that? That's like the best evidence you could possibly ever get. That's the best evidence given to you on a silver platter. You don't have to do anything except type a few words, wait for it to come back, and bam, you've got an instant murder conviction.
Yeah.
Why would law enforcement's going to be, no, go ahead and let them put it up, man. It's cool.
I'm sorry?
Well, I mean, law enforcement is definitely going to get behind anybody committing any kind of crime whatsoever and posting it Facebook Live. Why not?
Oh,
they would be foolish to try to stand against that.
Right. Yeah. I don't see that. Yeah, I don't see them. I mean, I think it's more of, I don't know, a legal analyst being an idiot. But
you know what my biggest fear in all of this is that, again, we live in that type of society where people see things like that, they see the reaction from it, and people are that ego driven that, hey, I want that kind of reaction. I want people to, hey, because he proved on Facebook Live how big and bad he was to, what was her name, Joy Lane. That poor woman, bless her heart.
Yeah,
you can imagine what she's going through right now, along with all of the family.
The poor family. That's another thing that drives me crazy about people calling it a hoax. I'm like, you know what? Their family, that man's family, that Mr. Copeland's family, probably doesn't really see it so much as a hoax, and you can circle, whatever you want on the YouTube videos and edit it creatively to make it look like it's totally fake. That's great. But for them to get an entire McDonald's and half the town in on this hoax is just, next level fucking Illuminati shit. Like, if they really did that, I will eat crow. If someone can prove to me that they got the employees at McDonald's to lie, all of them, to lie about seeing the man, pulling him over, and that's where the cops found him. It is insane to me. I would absolutely eat crow if evidence came out that they were somehow bought off. But I'm sorry, I don't. Right now, I'm way more, and you know what? I'm not saying it's impossible. Not saying it's impossible. Just saying.
And that's so sad. Instead of us actually listening to something like this and going through however we have to process this as a real thing, the first thing that you have to do with any event that happens is immediately start to debunk it.
And that's the thing is with them, like that's their religion.
It's an illness. It's an illness.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's definitely a devotion. It's a faith. It's a blind faith in something, and it's just too. It's definitely a crutch where I don't think people can process certain things. So that's the first thing they do, and it's very sad because there's more of a chance that it's a real thing that happened. You know, there's way more evidence. I mean, really good, solid evidence pointing to the fact that this actually happened. So maybe just relax and take a step back and think maybe horrible things happen in the world, and maybe this family's suffering, and maybe they don't want to scroll through Facebook and see people they know, posting that it's a hoax, because. I'm sorry.
The video that I saw, and that's the only reason I watched it, because again, having such a wide net of different people on my friends list, there were people in different little groups popping up here and there, the fact that it was a hoax. Now, when it first popped up on my feed, I didn't know what it was because, again, I don't have a television in the house that's running CNN or Fox News or this, that, and the other. Unless I'm actually online and actively searching for news, usually it just goes right over my head. And I have to kind of do that to keep my sanity these days. So when it first popped up on my feed, already I was seeing something about a hoax, and I was like, what are they talking about? And clicked on the video. That wasn't a hoax. Yeah. That really happened. That was horrible. That was horrible.
That was very weird. Yeah. I don't. Okay. I can't. That was not.
I think to your reason, Shannon, that you said you watched it, and for the reason that I didn't watch it, multiple reasons. Number one, I didn't want to see some guy get his head blown off. If I can help it, if I know that that's.
And see, I didn't know that had happened. When I clicked on it, I'd seen this guy's name popping up in my feed. And I clicked on it to see what all the fuss was about. And I really didn't know what I was clicking on. Was this something funny? Was this something serious? Was, a police interaction? What is this video I'm watching? I'm watching, and so I watch it in real time. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. It popped up on my Instagram. So I know that I didn't watch it on purpose. Like, how Instagram videos just play. And I was like, what is this? It was a repost. And I was like, what is this? And I touched it and I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't know what was happening. And then I almost threw up, and I was like, this can't be real. So I Googled it, and I think I was the only person I know to post about it, and no one really picked up on it at first. It was Sunday, and it was Easter. And I mean, it was like a couple hours before people were like, oh my God, that's an actual thing, Joe's. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I posted it. Like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I kept up with it from a distance. Like, probably, I don't know if I saw your post, but it was right around the same time that you saw it. I kept up with it from a distance. Didn't watch the videos. I don't care what this lunatic has to say. I don't want to give him any more attention. Not that it matters. Me watching that video is not going to make a difference in any way, shape, or form. It's not going to bring anybody back to life. And it's just another crazy person. And into what you're saying, Shannon, is you've got people arguing back and forth. I don't know if I've been doing this long enough that I'm just completely jaded, but you know what? There's people that just want to argue out there. And when it comes to stuff like this, there's nothing you're going to say that's going to change their mind. Yep. And there's no point in arguing about so much stuff. There's stuff worth arguing about, and you have to pick and choose what's important, worth arguing about. And something like this, it's just not. You're not going to convince them. People believe every crazy thing in the world, and there's crazy mainstream beliefs that everybody believes that they're talking about on CNN right now that's just completely made up stuff. The Syria thing, for one. Now, can I prove it's made up? No. Again, still haven't seen any evidence of it. That's all I'm saying.
But you can't prove it's not made up either.
No, and that's the thing. That's with everything, though. That's with literally everything. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. We can sit here and talk about Martin Luther King. It can come out in civil court that James Earl Ray didn't do it. We can have Martin Luther King's children saying we know he didn't do it. We can know you can read about it. You can go visit Memphis, go to the Lorraine Motel. You can do every bit of study, which I've done on it. And you know what? You're still never going to know for 100% what happened. You can think you know, and you can kind of get it really close, but you're never going to actually know. And as long as you never actually know, everybody's free to go, they're clear to go away with, get away with whatever they want to get away with. And then if it comes out 75 years later, well, who cares? Everybody's dead. Big deal. And then when you get somebody that's actually caught in real time, look at James Clapper. The man lied under oath about the activities that were being performed by the NSA. 2 weeks later, Snowden proved that he lied under oath, and he gets promoted. We live in a world where people can just lie under oath, and nobody cares. They get promoted, and it's just...
Well, and if you get promoted while lying under oath, if you get promoted while you're lying under oath, then come on, man, you know what that's all about. That's friends helping friends. Hey, you did me a solid up there, and I'm fixing to do you a solid. And that's the way it really works.
But the reality is people that have attacked him. Sean Hannity, I heard him at some multiple points.
Oh, God.
Attack Clapper. Him, CNN, NBC, all of them at some point will say something negative, and then they'll turn around and cite him for whatever crazy thing that they want to go embark on, whether it's, some Middle East thing or whatever it is. Well, did you hear what James Clapper said? You know who he is. He's the director of national intelligence, blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, now you believe him. Now you're going to use this man as a source when we all know that he's 100% known liar, and you're just acting like that never happened. So again, people believe stupid stuff. They're completely brainwashed. And you're not going to change these people's minds. All you can do is focus on the most important things, which I think it's the grand scheme of stuff, which is everything hinges around foreign policy. We're broke. If you stop that tomorrow, we'd be a little bit less broke. There's people dying over there for no reason. So much hinges around foreign policy. And then, of course, there's a few domestic issues, too. When you get into,
a few?
Well, there's a ton, but people can't go down these rabbit holes of this crazy stuff when, look, we got people marching over Trump's tax returns. Who cares? That's what you think is important? Like you said, I'm saying people they grasp to these dumb emotional things because they think it gives them some sort of self-worth and self-value, and it makes them think that they're smarter than the next person because, we're standing up for this. We're standing up for this. You're not standing up for anything. Nothing. You've been duped. People, I think it was the Mark Twain quote, and I'm going to butcher it, but, it's easier to convince somebody of whatever is a lie than to convince somebody that they believed the lie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're right.
And people don't want to admit that they've believed all this dumb stuff. And for people to change, they have to look in the mirror and realize that, you know what, maybe you've been wrong. Maybe I've been wrong. Maybe everybody's been wrong about something in life. People sometimes are wrong. The most dangerous thing you can do is to continue believing some stupid wrong thing because your ego is too big to admit the truth to yourself. That's why we're in the situation we're in. People think, this kid in Georgia, he's going to change stuff, or, Trump, he's going to change stuff. Nothing ever changes. Which politician? Tell me one.
People need to put down the flags and pick up a shovel. I'm just saying.
Well, it is what it is. And on that, we'll be back on Thursday. Thank you, UCY. Nick will be here tomorrow night. Jake is up next. For Josie, for Shannon, I am SM Gibson. Anti-Media Radio, out.
I'ma let them know, through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo.